Hello and welcome to Upstack America's Oracle EBS Financials Functional Training. My name is Bob and I'm the lead senior consultant for Upstack America. And with me today I have Victor, who is also a senior consultant for Upstack America. This is our introduction lesson, just to go through what we do here at Upstack America and what the training is all about. Okay. Now, today I'll talk about the Oracle EBS Financials Functional Training, which is basically the training that you are undergoing. Okay. Now, what we do here at Upstack America is we train you to become an Oracle Financials Functional Consultant. All right. Now, when a client buys a system like Oracle, what they do is they need consultants to come on board and implement the project. All right. They need functional consultants. They will need technical consultants. All right. Now, the functional consultants, they are the people who configure and set up the Oracle system from the front end without doing any programming work. Okay. Now, the technical consultant, they are the people who help the functional consultant with any coding or programming work. All right. Now, the other people also who work on the Oracle system, and these are called the end users. Okay. And these people, they are the people who use the system on a day-to-day basis. Okay. These are mostly the employees of the company that bought the software. Okay, so these are the people who will use that system, the Oracle system. Once it's implemented, they will use it on a day-to-day basis after the system has been implemented by the functional consultant and the technical consultants. All right. Now, our training is basically tailored towards helping you become a functional consultant. Okay, the person who configures and sets up the Oracle system from the front end. All right. Now, with our training, there will also be some parts of this training that you'll learn, which are basically end user roles. Okay. And you'll learn also a little bit of some technical roles in our classes. Okay. But basically, you're being trained to become a functional consultant, the person who goes out there and configures and sets up the Oracle system for the client from the front end without doing any programming work. Okay. Now, next, I will talk about the modules that we train you on as an Oracle Financials Functional Consultant. Now, the modules are: one, we'll train you on General Ledger, which is called GL. All right. This is the biggest module within Oracle Financials. Okay. We'll also train you on fixed assets. We'll also train you on accounts receivables, which is called AR, accounts payables, AP, cash management, CE, and EB tax. All right. Now, I will talk a little bit more about what all these modules are used for. All right. Now, the General Ledger, or the GL, which is the first module that you'll be trained on, it's the main source of financial reporting for an enterprise. Okay, like I said, this is the largest module that you'll be training on. It's going to take you probably around 2 months to complete training on General Ledger. Okay, now all transactions end up in General Ledger module. Okay, so it's the main module for Oracle EBS system. Okay. Now, the other module is accounts payables, or AP. That module manages the procurement and the expense transactions of an enterprise. All right. So you're going to learn about that module as well as part of this training. That module should take you less than a month. Okay. The other module is accounts receivables, which is called AR module. It manages the revenue and the sales transactions of an enterprise. All right. That module should take you around a month, less than a month. Okay. The other module is cash management, or CE. It manages bank reconciliations and cash forecasting and positioning of a business. All right. That one should take you also less than a month to complete. The other module that you'll be trained on is fixed assets, which basically it's a module that is used for tracking and maintenance and reporting of enterprises' fixed assets. All right. Now, and another module that you'll be trained on is EB tax, which basically manages the tax requirements of an enterprise. All right. That module as well should take you less than a month to accomplish. All right. And even fixed assets, it will take you less than a month to finish. All right. Now, there's something else that you're going to be trained on. It's called the SLA. It's not really a module, but it's something that you'll have to learn as a consultant, as an Oracle Financials functional consultant. You need to know what SLA is and how it works. Basically, SLA is the accounting engine of the Oracle modules. All right. Remember, at the end of the day, every transaction that is done in the Oracle system has to be accounted in a certain way. Okay, there has to be debits, credits, and all that kind of information. Okay, so the SLA basically helps the Oracle system to be able to account for each and every transaction. Okay, and like I said, this is not really a module, but a service to each and every module that I've just mentioned. All right, so having said that, I will hand over to Victor so that he can walk us through the other aspect of this introduction lesson. Thank you. Victor, please.
Thank you, Bob, for that introduction. So I am going to talk about some of the navigation shortcuts and personalization that we can do on our Oracle instance. This will help us during our training. It will make the work of data entry and other functions that we may want to perform on our instance much simpler. So to start off, I am going to show you how to add some navigations to what we may call a favorite list, or some of the navigations that you are going to use often, and how you can, what you can do so that you can access them much easily. So once you log in to the instance, this is the first page that you are going to see, which is a browser page. You can select a responsibility over there, and these menu options will then become available to you. Once you select these menu options, so let me select an option where I'm sure we are going to have to enter some data. So for calendar, for example. Okay. Looks like my system is acting up. Okay.
You can log out and then log in back again, so that
that's what I'm going to do.
And see.
That's what I'm going to do. So let me log out. This is where you enter your password, your username and your password, and log in. Then you're going to see this home page. Okay. You can select a responsibility. As you take the lessons, you're going to understand all the technical terms such as responsibility and all that. But basically, these here you see on the menu are responsibilities. So I can select that general ledger super user responsibility. So let me select one of these menu options. When I do that, these windows or Java forms are launched. Okay. So let me just close. The reason I did that is so that I can have access to this particular window. So this here is the same as the browser-based home page. Okay. So this is the start navigation page. However, it is on a Java form. All right. So a lot of the menu options, the windows still open on Java Forms, but you have others which open on a browser page. So what I wanted to show you anyway is how you can add a navigation option to your top 10 list. So if you look at this window here, on the left you have menu options which are similar to the ones that we saw on the browser page, and on the right here you have a column that says top 10 list. So maybe as you do your training, there are going to be navigations that you're going to use a lot of the times, and instead of doing the whole navigation every single time, you can add that the navigation that leads you to opening the window to your top 10 list. So for example, because we're going to be entering journals very often, we can add this option of entering journals to our top 10 list. How do you do that? You go to the that navigation. So I expanded this journals option. The options that open down here are enter, post, and encumbrance. So if I want to add this enter option to the top 10 list, I press this arrow over here, okay, that points to the top 10 list. And there, the enter journals option is added to the top 10 list. So now, when I want to go to this window, all I have to do is come here and press 1 on my keyboard, all right? And this window opens, and now to enter the new journal, all you have to do is select new journal, okay? So for all the options which you believe you're going to use or which you're going to learn that you're going to be using very often, that is how you can add them to this list. So instead of using these menu options here where you have to expand, then go down and select the actual destination that you want to go to, you can just add them to the top 10 list, and anytime you want to remove them, you can use this button here and remove it from the list, okay? So that's the first shortcut. Now the other thing that we are going to be doing is querying for data. All right. So maybe if you a certain window shows many records and you want to query for a particular one, there's a shortcut you can use. All right. So, and that shortcut is going to be F11. Once you enter the query, to execute that query, you're going to press Control F11. I understand for some people you have to combine the function key with these F keys. So, for example, for my computer, if I want to use F11, I have to press function then F11. If I want to do Control F11, which is to execute the query, I have to do control function then F11. All right. So let's go to. All right. So for example, let me go to setup, financials, flex field, like key, and then segments. This is actually a very good example that can be a candidate to add to your top 10 list, because instead of following that whole navigation, you can add these segments to your top 10 list, this segment option to your top 10 list. So all you have to do is press 2, and this window becomes available to you. So just ignore for now the purpose of this window, and I'm going to show you how to use F11 and control F11. So here, let me look for So now, if I want to look for a value, you see this window, there are very many values. If there's a particular one that I want to look for from these values, what can I do? I can use that shortcut, all right? So I click inside there, all right? And then I put it in query mode by pressing F11. Okay, when you press F11 or function F11, this is what comes up. You get this field turns to blue. And then, for example, you know what you're looking for. You have the name of that particular record that you're looking for. So for me, I know there's a record with the name called Victor. So I can enter Vic, and this symbol here, this percentage symbol, we call it a wildcard. So instead of entering the whole name, you can just enter this wildcard. And what it means is it will bring all the records which have these letters VIC and something else. Okay, so if it's Victor, if it's Victoria, if it's Victory, all those records will be generated once we execute this query. So once I enter that, then I do Control F11. Let's take a small break. So you use these wildcards to avoid entering the whole name of whatever record you are looking for. Okay. Now, something else about the wildcard is that, for example, if I enter wildcard, then VIC wildcard, this will look for records which have characters before this VIC and after this VIC. So if I query this and the name of the record I am looking for is just Victor and nothing before that, that record won't come up because what I'm looking for is believed to have characters before the VIC, all right? So I'm going to do that. I have entered VIC. Now I'm going to execute this query by pressing Control Function 11 or Control F11, depending on your keyboard. And these are all the records that contain VIC, and you can see there's 3 of them. So instead of using this find button, which you saw me using when I was looking for this record at the top, you can use the F11 and Control F11 shortcuts. All right. So let's close that. Okay. The next shortcut is F4, which is used to close forms, which is pretty straightforward. So let's still go back to that window we had opened by pressing 2. So you can click on the X button here to close this, or you can just press F4 on your keyboard or function F4 depending on your computer, and voila, that happens. So that's another shortcut. Now, because you're also going to be doing a lot of data entry, sometimes what you need to do is maybe just enter a lot of similar records. So instead of typing them in or keying them in all over multiple times, you can just copy from the field above to the field where you're working on. What am I talking about? So let's go back to the system. Let's see, calendars, accounting. So here, if I want to look for a particular calendar, I'll do function F11. I know there's a calendar with VIC in there, execute the query, and that's the calendar. So supposing I want to add a record in this calendar, okay? So first of all, I press on my keyboard Control and then the down arrow to open a new field like that. Now, if I want to copy this July to this field below, what I do is Shift and F5, or if you have a keyboard like mine, Shift function F5. All right, and that happens. If I want to copy this whole record, so this whole thing, instead of just this one single field, I do Shift F6, or if you have a keyboard like mine, Shift function F6, okay? And the whole thing is copied. All right. So if you have, if you are at a point where you have to enter a lot of records and a lot of the information is the same, you can use those shortcuts. So let me just delete that record because I just wanted to show you. All right. So to copy records, Shift and F5 for a single field and Shift and F6 for the whole record. Okay. All right. The next shortcut that we are going to use, which might be useful, is the access keys. So what am I talking about when I say access keys? If you look at the menu at the top here, you'll have these options: File, Edit, View, Tools, Window, and Help. Okay. Also, what you will notice is that the first letter is underlined. So here F, here E, V, and like that. There are options that we usually use under here. So for example, if I select Edit, you will see these options for paste and preferences. If I select View, you will see these options, request. Some of them are grayed out because you can't use them from this page. So instead of using your mouse to come and click on each option, a shortcut we can use is by using the Alt key on your keyboard and then combining it with whatever letter that's underlined. So for example, if we want to view if we want to see the options under View, we'll press Alt and V. Okay. And if we want to select this request option, which is the only one that's available to us on this particular window, we still press Alt and then R. And this window is launched. Okay. We're actually going to be using this window a lot in our training. So this is going to be useful to you. So for each of these options up here, you can use those access keys. So for example, if you want to use an option under this file, a menu, just press Alt, then F. The menu comes down. If you want to switch responsibility, you use W. All right, because you see W is the one that's underlined. If you want to print, Alt and P. If you want to exit, Alt and X, because you see here X is the one that's underlined. So those are the access keys, which make it easier for you by using the keyboard instead of the cursor and the mouse. Now, the last one, which is perhaps the biggest one, is just Control K. And once you use Control K, you will see all the other shortcuts available to you, which I have not put on this introduction video. So if you come here and do Control K, then you have all these shortcuts, which will make your life easier. All right, and you can see some of the ones that I've already told you. Duplicate field is Shift plus F5. Duplicate record is Shift plus F6. So all these here are shortcuts, and if you have the time, you can look at them and see whether there are some which are going to be useful to you. So F4 to close this. So those are just some of the shortcuts that I believe are going to be useful to you as you start your lessons as a functional consultant trainee. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is just one thing about changing the color of your interface. This might come in handy once you start working on projects. And on projects, you usually have multiple instances. What we are working on is called an Oracle instance. So one instance will be for testing, where you can do tests for your various configurations that you're going to do. And then the other one will be maybe for showing to the client so that they can approve the configurations that you've done. And in all that work, it might get confusing. You don't know which instance you're actually working on or using. So in order to avoid that confusion and avoid making mistakes, you can personalize the view of each instance by changing the color. So you can know when I see brown or when I see red, this is the production instance, or when I see blue, this is the testing instance. Okay, and the way you do that, you can go to the system administrator responsibility, select profile option. Under that, select personal option, and you can change the color. There's also another navigation to do the same thing, which I'm going to show you. So let's use our access key. So Alt F and then W to switch responsibilities. Go to System Administrator. Go to Profile. Then Personal. Okay. These profile options are things that you're going to learn about also in the lessons that we are going to take. The option that you want to select in order to change the color is actually, let's use you can use the F11 here. So I'm not sure of the actual name, so I'm going to use the wildcards. Okay, I'm sure it has the name color somewhere. And then Control F11. So Java color scheme is the profile option that you want to bring up. So this color that we are seeing is the default, right? Here you can come and select whatever color that you want to use. Okay, so let's do purple. Let's save. Let's close that window. We have to, let's switch responsibility. And then come back again. See whether it will change, or we'll have to log out. So let's log out. Log in again and see whether our changes have been executed. As you can see, the color has been changed to purple, which I have to admit is not a very attractive color here. But that is how you can do it. So you can set one instance to purple, another one to red, another one to blue, and in that way you can avoid the confusion of doing something on an instance where you're not supposed to actually do that particular action. So with that, I believe those are some of the important navigation shortcuts and personalization options that will be helpful to you at the moment. As you continue to learn, you will know others, and which will make your work easier as you work on the instance. But Bob, unless you have something to add.
All right, thank you so much, Victor.
All right.
Now, I wanted to add something. This training is a very doable training, but it requires a lot of sacrifices, okay? When you start working on the system, you have to practice a lot, okay? You really have to put in the time. If you don't, then you're going to struggle, okay? It's a training that requires you to put in a lot of effort, a lot. And if you do that, you're going to be very, very successful, okay? Also, when you go out there, once you're done with the training and you go out there and start working as an Oracle Financial Functional Consultant, it's a job that pays very well, but it's a job that also requires you to do the work, okay? You can't just sit there and expect to make some good money without working, all right? So it's one of those skills that are really those skills that are very, very rewarding, as far as monetary and all that stuff is concerned, okay? So you know the skill, you're good, okay? You're going to be very, very successful as a consultant, okay? So we wish you all the best from Aztec America. Enjoy the ride. And after this lesson, the next lesson that you're going to start will be the general ledger, which is the first module that you'll be working on. So enjoy the ride, and thank you so much, and see you in our next lesson. Bye-bye.
Bye.